I am Venkatesan. I am working at Sri Rajarajan College of Engineering and Technology, Assistant Professor of Department of ECE. I am going to take a subject about discrete time signal processing. So one of the important subject in Electronics and the Communication Department is DSP. So far we are going to depth of the introduction to digital signal processor. So the contents of the introduction to digital signal processors are DSP functionalities, circular buffering, DSP architecture, and then fixed and floating point principle, programming and application example. In first slide, DSP functionalities. What are the functions are used in DSP functionalities? So before that, we are going to the objectives. What are the objectives? What is the processor? What is used in DSP? So one of the important processor TMS320, TMS320CX, some of the processors, and then if the processor is used, what are the addressing modes and the instruction sets are used in this processor. So we are going after that, then we are going for the applications of the DSP and the programming examples. Next. So DSP functionalities. DSP is one of the specialized form of microprocessor. DSP is nothing but a normal processor, but it's developed from the microprocessor itself. DSP used for accelerating the calculation of the normal calculating speed. So normal calculating speed is normally used when we are using the calculator or mobile phone. It has a normal speed. While using the DSP, we are using the extra speed. That's why we call it accelerate the calculation. Meanwhile, the power consumption is very low as possible in this DSP. Next. So next we are going for digital signal processor and the comparison with the conventional microprocessor. In DSP, we are used for the digital signal processing application only. In a conventional microprocessor, we are using various amount of general purpose applications. The various amount of general purpose applications are used in our mobile phone, our laptop, and etc. etc. There are many applications used in the conventional microprocessor. Next we are going to see the RISC and CISC processor. RISC is a reduced instruction set computer and CISC is a complex instruction set computer. In a reduced instruction set computer, we are going to see we are going to see the DSP hardware and software and architecture and data flow, arithmetic capabilities, memory configuration, IPOL structures, programmability, and the instruction set of the processor. So far we are going to see these main functionalities under this unit. So signal processing application is a low cost embedded system, high throughput and PC based multimedia communication and embedded processor requirements. So these are the basic things we are considering before going to the DSP. Next we are going to see the main conventional architecture type. The conventional architectures are Harvard architecture and the von Neumann architecture. The Harvard architecture and the von Neumanns are developed the very first architecture types. The von Neumann architecture has single memory and single CPU itself. Meanwhile, the Harvard architectures are separate memory but single CPU. These are the difference between the two types of the architecture. These are known as the conventional DSP architecture. Later that we are going to the modified Harvard architecture. The modified Harvard architecture is a little bit of advantage from the Harvard architecture. So next we are going to the modulo addressing and the reversed addressing mode. These are the two addressing modes used in this conventional type of DSP architecture. Next. So next we are going to see the buffering. Buffering is one of the important topic in the processor. So in this processing of the digital signals, the buffering plays a major role. For normally one sample at the address. For first sample will be noted in 2001, the next sample will be noted in 2002, and the third sample will be noted in 2003, and last one, the new sample will be noted in 2004. Every time the new sample will get into the squad, the stack will be overloaded and the new sample will be down backwards x of n-1, x of n-2 and x of n-3 up to the infinity. The new samples will get into the stack, the old samples will be reversed into the corresponding address. Linear buffer at the time of the signal n. So the next we are going to see the number of read and write operation. So depends upon the space of the stack, the number of the read and write operation will be used for the linear buffering. So it's not an efficient method to use. So depends upon the stack, the data read and write operations will be assigned. So this is not an efficient method. Let us we go for the circular buffering. The circular buffering contains the same operation. Once the new data will enter into the stack, the old data will leave the stack. For example, let us see the diagram A. So x of 2 will be the oldest data, x of 5 will be the newest data. Whenever the x of 6 will be enter into the stack, the oldest data in the previous stack x of 2 will leave the stack. So the next time x of 7 will be the newest data. X of 7 will be the newest will enter into the stack. X of 4 will be the oldest data at the time, and x of 3 will exist from the stack. And last diagram n equal to 8. So the 8 will enter into the stack. The oldest data will be called as 7, and the data 4 will be gone out from the stack. Next. So the circular buffering will be example. The circular buffer is a hypothetical circular memory. The address of the memory location will be shown from the hypothetical circular memory. This is a hypothetical circle. 2001, 2002, 3 and 4 will be known as the address of the circular memory. The next we are going to see about the linear buffering. Linear buffering is so simple, but it's not an efficient method. But circular buffering is an efficient method because of the hypothetical addressing of the circular memory. It uses a single memory read and write operation because of the hypothetical circular memory. Next we are using the von Neumann, Harvard and modified Harvard architecture. These are the conventional architecture we have already discussed about this. Then we are going to see the architecture of the von Neumann and Harvard and modified Harvard architecture. So the von Neumann is first described in 1946. It's a simple structure. It has a single memory and a single CPU in it. Later it can be converted into the development of the Harvard architecture. This is the diagram. This total section will known as the CPU section, and this will be the memory section. It has a single CPU section which contains ALU, control and clock. Then the total section is known as the program and data memory, consists of a single memory unit. This is the von Neumann architecture simplified diagram. Next, it's an accessing mechanism of instruction and data are different. This uses the both data and the address in a single memory itself. So the accessing mechanism is different. The program counter operation depends upon the instruction we are given to the main processor. Next we are going to see the Harvard architecture. It's a modified von Neumann architecture is known as the Harvard architecture. This contains the separate data memory and the program memory in itself. The next we are going to see the Harvard architecture. Two separate physical memory buses. These are known as the separate data and the program memory. Two simultaneous memory access has been given to this. So the operation of the processor will be very fast when compared to the von Neumann architecture. This is the CPU section, ALU, control and the clock. Here we are discussed about the program and the data memories are separated. In von Neumann we have the both contains in a single block. Here we have program memory and data memory in two different sections. This is the main advantage of the Harvard architecture. The next we are going to see the modified Harvard architecture or super Harvard architecture. This will be known as SHARC. One of the main applications of the DSP processor is a SHARC. The SHARC is a super Harvard architecture. Let us be going to see some modified Harvard architecture. The data are accessible by ALU. ALU will perform the arithmetic and logic operation as well as accepting the data and processing the data, while programs are accessed via the program bus only. Next we are going to see the architecture of modified Harvard. So here we have used two types of data memory. Both will accept the data and receive the data and processing the data. Whenever the instruction is processed, the both data memory will collect the information and process the information and send it to the program memory. The program memory will be the mediator between the CPU and the data memory. The both will operate as like that. Program memory will receive the information, it giving to the data memory 1 and data memory 2 and process the operation. So this will be the main advantage of the modified Harvard architecture. Next we are going to the multiplication operation will be main thing. There are two types of data memory. One data memory will perform the normal arithmetic operation, the another will perform another shift and rotate operation, and the comparison operation will be performed by this. Next we are going to See, the problems will be that wait for the second operand. If we are using the two types of instruction, the both data or memory will receive the two types of instruction. Some of the instructions will be need to wait. So these are the major problem used in modified Harvard architecture. Next, we are going to see the algorithm complexity is the one of the main advantage. This will be clarified by using the multiplied accumulator technique. The multiplied accumulator, there are two types of numbers used to multiply an accumulator. Next, we are going to see there are X register and Y register will be used. In this X register, we are giving the 4 types of data, 4 bits of data, and Y register we have giving the 4 bits of data. By using the normal binary multiplication technique, we have multiplied and get the product. We are getting the product about 2n bits. The 2n bits will be added simultaneously and verified double precision accumulator. The double precision accumulator is the very important which will used in the addition unit. This is the main part of the multiplied accumulator. This will give the perfect multiplier value from this product.